Hello there, croeso and welcome. I'm Shadow Lummox and today I'm doing an overview of Disney Speedstorm, a kart racer game that has recently become free to play and cross-platform. And I'm gonna take a look at how the game plays, the different modes that are on offer, so you can get a good look at this game and decide for yourself whether this is the sort of thing that is going to interest you. But we're going to start with the question I put on the thumbnail, and it's a free-to-play game with gacha style mechanics, so is it pay to win? And the simple answer is sort of. Definitely at the beginning of the game, because of the way you level up characters and level up your carts. If you've played mobile games, you'll understand that getting shards for the characters, getting different resources to upgrade your carts. If you've got money, you can pay to get those resources, do everything a bit quicker, get yourself an advantage. And in the early multiplayer ranked games, that can potentially be an issue, but as the game gets further on, as you get closer to the top levels, it becomes about skill. Because with a racing game, if you put a bad driver in a good car, you've still got a bad driver on your hands. And this does play out as you get further into the game. There is also a restricted multiplayer mode where everyone's the same level, which is 100% about skill. So let's get into the basics of how the game plays. And we're going to start with the start. You'll get a little green bar there that you've got to try and get your power in by the time it says go. If you get it right, you get a nice little boost. It changes depending on the driver of the car, so the same timing doesn't work with all the cars, but you can feather the throttle to get it right. It's R2 to go, and L2 will start your drift. As you build up your drift, you'll notice that the wheels start glowing blue. That's when you've got yourself a turbo. Release the drift, you get a bit of a boost. It also gives you a bit of boost to your boost bar, which you can see at the top of the screen. And when that's full, you can press X to get a bit of nitro, a bit of boost. The trick though, is that when you are boosting and you do a drift, that boost then gets added to your overall boost meter. There are also these blue pads on the floor which will give you some boost as well, so you get your boost filled up, use it, and then use drifting and those boost pads to keep your boost going almost indefinitely. And with skill and track knowledge, you can chain those boosts to do most of the race boosting. The next thing to go through will be power-ups from these boxes that you'll pick up throughout the level. These will give you various boosts or attack items or defensive items, and it's color-coded as well. Blue are speed boosts, green are defensive items, red are offensive items, and the purple items are just do weird things to people. And the items that you pick up are determined by your character. So your characters will only be able to select from a select pool of these items, meaning that the character you pick is important because the items should always match the playstyle that you want to go for, either be more offensive based or speed based or defensive based. Every character also has a unique skill, and at the character collection screen you'll be able to see what all the different skills work and the different effects they have, whether you deploy it normally, backwards or charged, and gives you a great variety in how you use each individual racer. And then on square you've got your aerial trick / jump button. When you're just driving around, you get a normal jump, and when you go off these ramps with the arrows, you can press square to do an aerial trick, which will give you a little bit of a boost. but it doesn't add to your boost bar unless you are already boosting. So again, track knowledge becomes paramount when you're competing at the higher multiplayer levels. And those are the key controls that you'll need to know to get ahead in this game. You can also do little side swipes using left and right on the right analog stick. Very useful at the beginning of the match when everything is nice and congested. And the other thing to note are the tracks. There's great variety in the routes you can take. There's plenty of shortcuts, alternate routes. There's just really well designed tracks and really good races. Tend to be only 2 laps, so the races can be not quite short, but that's a good thing in these sort of games. You're constantly getting into races, there aren't big weights, and you're not going to have to dedicate an awful lot of time to actually competing in this game. So those are the main gameplay points to bring to your attention, to make you aware of. And we'll go through the modes of this game for single player and multiplayer. This is the main menu screen with everything unlocked, but when you start you'll just have access to the starter circuit in single player with these 3 chapters. By doing them all, you'll unlock all those characters, and you'll unlock the multiplayer modes and the rest of the single player modes. So it forms a good introduction to the game. And it'll be a series of events with some usually 3 goals that you've got to achieve, but you don't have to get them all in one go. As long as you get one of them, you'll be allowed to move on to the next stage. Once you've done all the starter circuits, then you'll unlock the seasonal events and limited events, which will allow you to get extra resources you need for upgrading your races and your cars, and to get a currency to be used in the shop. There are plenty of events, they refresh very regularly, and they're not too hard. You can set the difficulty, which will change the level of the AI you're racing against. So you don't want to go too high above whatever your current racer is, and otherwise you will just get beaten quite easily. And there's plenty on offer to get your resources, to get the things you'll need to progress your cars and your characters in the game. You'll then have the seasonal tours here. This is currently an Aladdin based season, and you'll be doing those events to, again, get upgrades, get resources for developing your cars. In multiplayer, you got basically ranked multiplayer. Pick your car and your character. Whatever level you've upgraded them to, that's what you'll be racing at, and you'll race against other people with their upgraded characters. You've got regulated multiplayer, where you can select from the races you already own and a selection of guest races. But notice that the levels are regulated. Everyone is level 30 and 2 stars, which means that everyone is playing on an even playing field. You've also got access to these private events. These are races you create for playing with your friends or for leagues. And then you've got local free play as well, which is couch co-op and is a very welcome addition for this game. Not enough games focus on couch co-op enough, so it's good to have that. But it's a gotcha game, so there's season pass and season missions. You can buy the golden pass, which will get you extra upgrades, but you can gain the resources and the currency you need just from playing the game, so you don't have to put any money in if you don't want to. Those are the major points that I wanted to point out, and that should give you a good idea of the sort of game this is. I'm going to finish off by showing a complete regulated multiplayer race with me and Donald Duck. This is a particularly good race with a very evil ending by myself. I've been really enjoying this game, but I do these sort of overview videos because I'm easy to please. I love computer games, I love all sorts of them. I'm not that critical, so I'm the best place for doing these sort of overview things. I hope this has given you a good idea about whether this is going to be your sort of game, and I'll leave you with the chaos of this final race, and I just want to say diolch and thank you for watching.
Still wonders, huh?